What if I told you that hiring a letting agent doesn't actually make your rental property passive, and that it doesn't even reduce the biggest risks that you face as a landlord? Now, you might have been told, buy a rental property, hand it to a letting agent, and all of the day-to-day problems would be taken care of. It was meant to be steady money on the side. Instead, it feels like more calls, more repairs, and more things that can go wrong. So you might be starting to ask, is there a better way to run my property? Now, here's the truth. A tenant doesn't guarantee you peace and quiet. Even with a good tenant, things still break. Boilers fail, leaks happen, damp builds up, and those smaller issues turn into big bills when they go unreported. And if you get a bad tenant, that's when things really start to sting. Rent stops, damages build up, and you can be stuck in a very slow, long process to get things sorted out. One bad tenant can completely wipe out your profit for the whole year and your peace of mind. And you're not just paying with your money, you're paying with stress and time as well. The thing is, once you've got a tenant in, you don't really have much control. You can't just change your mind and switch strategies overnight. Now, here's a bit that really makes you think. You might already be paying a letting agent a management fee, but if the tenant stops paying the rent or they damage the property, it's still you that takes the hit. So you do start to wonder, if I'm paying a management fee, why am I still taking on all of this risk? If you pay for management, you should be getting less risk, not just someone that forwards emails or organises repairs. And that's where a lot of landlords start to rethink everything. And this is the key mindset shift. The problem might not be the property, it's how the property is being used. Renting to one tenant for years is just one way to run a property. It's not the only way. You don't need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Sometimes you just need a different approach. It's like wearing shoes that are 5 sizes too big for you and thinking that your feet are the problem. The house isn't the issue, the strategy is. Now, one option you might have heard about is called serviced accommodation or Airbnb, which is essentially short to mid-term stays with proper management in place. It's basically where your property is rented to guests for shorter stays rather than one long-term tenant. It could be contractors working in the area, families relocating, people between house moves, or professionals working on temporary projects. They stay for days, weeks, or sometimes a few months, but they're not long-term tenants, and most importantly, they don't have the same rights as tenants. And the reason it can feel like lower stress isn't just height. It's the systems in place. You have professional cleaning teams that go in weekly or monthly. So your property gets checked often and problems get spotted early. So you're not relying on one person living there for years and just hoping everything's fine. Stays tend to be shorter, so you're not locked into one occupant for the long term. And with the right management in place, you're not even worrying about guest messaging, pricing, problems, and day-to-day issues. This isn't about chasing bookings. It's about having systems rather than hoping things go smoothly. And here's the interesting bit. You probably won't even notice the money first. You'll notice the feeling. You feel more in control, your property is looked after better, there are fewer nasty surprises, and your house is being managed like a business. Not just fingers crossed and hoping for the best. And honestly, you don't want maximum rent at all costs. You want minimum hassle. Now, is this more work? It can be if you're doing it yourself. But with the right management, it's hands off for you. And that's the whole point. But what about bad guests? Yes, they do exist, just like bad tenants do. But with the proper screening, security deposit, house rules, and quick action, things don't tend to linger on for months and months. Systems in place to manage these things efficiently. And is this right for every property? No, it's not. It depends on your area, the demand, the type of guests that your property suits. It's not going to be a magic switch for every single property, but when it's aligned and set up properly, it can be very, very effective. Traditional renting isn't wrong. It absolutely can still work. However, it's just not the only option anymore. And often it's not even the best one. If you want less stress, more control, and a property that is looked after properly, it's worth understanding the alternatives. In the next videos, I'll break down how this works, when it makes sense and when it doesn't, so you can make the right decision for your property.